People will struggle, they will break one story, nothing will happen, there's more to follow soon. No, we don't do more to follow soon. We will give you the full detail, the full bread. When you buy full tea bread and then they divide it, they cut it and they put condensed milk and butter and things. And that's how we serve the breakfast here. Poch. We don't play with that breakfast.
Maybe you thought we were joking when we said it's the best breakfast show and all
that's
of
the whole
that.
point.
Maybe you came to the party late, you discovered us late. That's not a problem at all. You're welcome. Take a seat.
Undisputed.
Undisputed,
you see? Undefeated.
Gets results. This is the scorecard. Consistent, passionate, deliberate. This is what it is all about. Kudos to you. They did some small rehearsal for you. They said, Johnny, their mouth didn't sing, but they got it right. They said this is your scorecard.
You know, you don't want to listen. You there? Oh. Hey. Still coming up this morning, I got a conversation on fisheries. I'm also going to give you something from the Amenfi Central constituency. The NDC's candidate has been cleared by the High Court to contest. And yes, we will go back to the courts because the Supreme Court today will decide on the 4 vacant seats. Parliament.
Man, I'm too bad, baby.
We want Danny, boy. We want Danny. Let me ask you.
Took my time and start using the jobs, I start bobbing it, and I got him with it. Go left uppercut.
Very good left uppercut. Let me ask you. Let me get you to talk through this again. There we go. Different angle.
When they start jobbing, man, I'm too bad, baby.
Yeah, we're too bad, baby. Oh, yeah. We're too bad, baby.
I love it.
Yeah.
He start using the jobs, I start bobbing it, and I got him with it. Go left uppercut.
Very good left uppercut. Let me ask you. Let me get you to talk through this again. There we go. Different angle.
When they start jobbing, man, I'm too bad, baby.
I will see you after the break. There's more I'm too bad, baby moments here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. That is where you should be placing your adverts, not in other places where nothing they happen for that side. That's how I turn down. Yeah. Finish.
Too bad.
Yeah, and too bad, baby. We'll see you after the break.
Agu Ghana for Mama nyina insha hey
eja na eda asam na wa free nyina wo ha sei
Mampanyi John Mahama say what the 24-hour economy ehye eba abeboa aban ne ankrankran nyuma nyina ama wa ye adwuma da mu ni nyinara
na sa enhyehyei eda na wo hwe ne mu kwan se ebe free mu aba
Mampanyi Mahama pese oban nyuma ku anipa oni won di zawoso doso bi te say DVLA passport office port customs any ankrankran nyuma ku bi te say wona wodane enuane ani agro processing factories any companies are ya kwanya kese esisi adan be ya adwuma edanu mu nchichemu miensa me chese donhwen watwe bia
woka se emwa be ho asem na woke
e ba no ankrankran nyuma na Mahama beteteto no so amo na wayere bambo mu asanso abo mu sikasem kwa na watete nkane abo nso amo we na ye frɛ no formula 133
eja na formula ben so no
e chese adwuma baako nipa miensa be no edanu nchichemu miensa
wow we die eden sakra kese be bankasa
formula 133 obia bedidi to abama sakra papa to abama John Mahama and NDC
the luckiest
star 712 hash
luck is everywhere for everyone yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed star 712 hash and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Dial star 712 hash. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial star 712 hash. Now I can to take it as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now we need to prizes are cashier in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Today, we thank you very much for your invaluable service to this great company, and we wish you well on your retirement. Cheers.
Thank you.
Happy retirement, Lay.
Thank you very much.
So are you staying or you are going back to Ghana?
I'm going back home, of course.
Wow. You really built?
I've got a home at Lakeside.
Is to thrive.
Dr. Baumian once said,
they are hurting the economy. These taxes are hurting, and therefore you are not going to get the growth. And when you don't get the growth, you will not get the revenue. And when you don't get the revenue, you go back to increasing taxes to get the revenue. And then you are in a cyclical downward spiral. And so they have it wrong.
Plenty English know the full baskets. They told us they'd move us from taxation to production, but they rather imposed over 40 taxes on suffering Ghanaians. Vote John Dramani Mahama for president. Trustworthy, honest, and reliable. Vote for change. Choose the umbrella. Vote John Dramani Mahama and the NDC.
The most comprehensive election coverage.
Top-notch presenters and well-versed analysts.
Dedicated reporters and correspondents in every nook and cranny across the country.
All the action, every incident reported. All the big stories covered.
All facts cross-checked. Every figure verified.
Every vote monitored and accounted for.
The numbers tallied, analyzed, and interpreted.
We have invested time and energy in order to bring you a comprehensive elections coverage.
The whole world will be watching us on TV, online, and radio.
Election Command Center. Facts, analysis, results. The most comprehensive election coverage.
And we have to catch this quickly and engage lawyer Drigita McClure on the Amenfi Central NDC candidature. Good morning, Counsel. Thank you for your time.
Hello, good morning, Johnny.
This decision by the High Court in favor of your candidate yesterday, what exactly does it mean for you and the NDC?
Remember that the 10th October 2024 letter from the Electoral Commission disqualifying our candidate is premised solely on the injunction application. And so to the extent that the injunction order, has been vacated by the same High Court, the foundation of that disqualification collapses. And like we say, you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. If the foundation is down, the superstructure must collapse. And that is what it is.
Now, what timelines are there for the Electoral Commission to reinstate your candidate onto the electoral?
ASAP. In fact, we've reached out to the Electoral Commission.
Right.
They've asked for a copy of the order.
Okay. And I'm sure that your candidate is now going to be picking up the campaigns all over again because she might have lost out.
We have already been campaigning. Remember that on the 9th of September,
right,
when she filed her nomination, the Electoral Commission accepted it because they came to conduct the rerun of the election.
Right.
And we've seen been campaigning. The running mate had even been to the constituency to campaign with the candidate.
Right.
And so it is easier to start from there.
Council, I thank you very much for your time. I know you have some other engagements, so I thank you. I thank you very much indeed. That's lawyer Dujita Maclose, the Director of Legal Affairs of the NDC there. So, Helen, there we have it. Some good news for the NDC in the Amenfi Central constituency. The High Court has said that, well, you can go ahead and and campaign and do your thing. You've been given a clean bill of health to go and contest that for that seat. He says immediately they have transmitted the order of the court to the Electoral Commission. We are waiting to see how the Electoral Commission will go about that particular conversation with them. Interesting days ahead, isn't it?
Absolutely. I see that the NDC, of course, very happy yesterday when they stepped out of court, which also elicited some very interesting comments from you all on social media. You said, as for this ruling, the NDC seems quite happy about it. In other rulings, they don't seem to want to welcome it. But this is what we should all be doing, looking to the courts to provide clarity for us all, which is also quite interesting because we're still on the quest for clarity as far as these vacant seats are concerned. So a lot going on with the judiciary at this time. And today, all eyes on the Supreme Court as they finally give that verdict. I think that today's proceedings have seemed to overshadow all of the other news items. Everybody's waiting on tenterhooks for the courts to make that final decision. Very interesting days ahead with 26 days to go until the December 7th elections. We're seeing a lot going on. We're watching the space very, very keenly.
3FM.
And of course, we have to watch the space. This is your election command center, and we always bring you the fresh news and fresh analysis on the happenings and the goings around the 276, not 5 anymore, because now Santo Kofi Akpafu Likpe and Lolobi hopefully will be voting in this election. That assurance has been given out there. So it's now 276, not 75. Parliamentary seats are up for grabs by the various candidates who have put forward their people out there. And we're working the phone lines to see if we can reach out to the lady at the center of all of this, the Honorable Joanna Kujo, the NDC's candidate for the Amenfi Central constituency of the NDC. And we'll try and find out from her how she feels, given the fact that this was thrown in there.
That's right.
In the middle, when she was busy trying to campaign.
Yeah.
And then what this means for her chances and going into the 2024 elections, what it means for the NDC in general in the constituency, and how enthusiastic the people have been in the constituency. It would be nice to know what her own thoughts are. As a woman at the center of all of the conversations. Yesterday, I saw videos of the people in the constituency jubilating.
And I mean, even her, when she came out of the court, she looked so relieved because, again, with some few days to the election, I mean, everybody has one focus and one focus alone. It's on campaigning to win the votes of the people, which also I'm extending the tentacles of this conversation again. For me, is another reason why reports indicate that maybe the NPP hasn't been able to marshal its people to actually attend to government business, is that the election campaign trail is hotter than ever. This is the time when MPs and aspiring MPs want to be, amongst the people, sending their message, talking about the manifesto and so on and so forth. So this is not the time for, being in and out of court. But alas, here we are. And like Lawyer Eduji said, they have been campaigning, although this case was, of course, still pending. Right. So it's just a matter of dusting yourself off now again. And now I'm sure the vim that she has to get back onto the campaign trail is even hotter now. She's done with the court case. Time for action.
Well, I mean, it's 25 days to the big day. What could possibly be her chances? I'm curious to learn and to understand exactly what their chances would be, that because in that particular constituency, it's I don't know if it's a done deal for the NDC or for the MPP, or it's a toss-up. I don't know what you have found or what you know, Helen. Maybe you share that with us.
All right, let me get to my notes because it's one that you've all been asking about. Well,
Amenfi Central.
Amenfi Central, the Amenfi Central constituency. I mean, it's been a significant point of contention in Ghana's political landscape leading up to these elections.
Right.
And all of the legal complication arose, you know, from all the allegations that she had forged her voter ID and NDC membership card. And you know that whenever you have some pressing issue in court, sometimes that garners some sympathy for you as a PC. I think that might work in her favor.
The Amenfi Central seat is a safe seat for the NDC, I should say, because if you look at the electoral record, 1996, the NPP had 29.5% of the votes. The NDC garnered 67.7% of the votes. In 2000, the NPP had 41.6% of the votes. The NDC had 54.3% of the votes. In 2004, the NPP has 47.7% of the votes. The NDC had 48.1% of the votes. Means that the NPP had closed in as of 2004 when President Kufuor was in power. In 2008, when President Kufuor was about to leave, the NPP dipped further to 33.2% of the votes, and the NDC had 39.3% of the votes. And then in 2012, you also had 43.8% of the vote. 54.8% of the vote went to the NDC. 43.8% went to the NPP. It's just about 10%, apart. And then in 2016, you had 48.9% for the NPP, and then for the NDC is 50.5% for the NDC. So it should tell you how things have panned out.
And then it gets even closer in 2020 if you have those figures.
You had in 2020 you had Peter Yao Kwache Aka, who now says he's going independent. He used to represent the NDC. That's right. And now he's going independent. He garnered 26,100 votes. That's 52.91%. Patrick Hodgson Amponting had 21,926, representing 44.45% for the NPP. And Apam Cecilia of GUM, Ghana Union Movement, had 1,302, representing 2.64% of the votes. That was what happened in the Amenfi Central constituency in 2020. So it looks like a safe seat for the NDC.
But as you see, as you've read out the years as they've gone by, the margins seem to be getting a bit closer. So just 2020, 52% vis-a-vis some 40, almost 45%. It's not a very wide gap. So you can see why this seat is keenly contested amongst the parties. It's not a shoe-in. And it's also not really a toss-up, if you will. The NDC consistently has got that margin, but not a wide margin. It's not impossible for the NPP to gain grounds at all. And throughout the years, the election years, you've read out the figures, they've been, doing more than 40%, in some cases almost 47%, with the NDC doing 52%. It is close. So that's why the internal wranglings in the NDC could spell some trouble for the party, given how close it has been.
This could be, if you like, a repeat of Kumawu and Asin North, and the other places where you might have had a split.
Yes.
But then, given the fact that the people in that constituency, since 1992, have voted in favor of the NDC in that constituency, you can, if you like, bet your hopes and say that, well, then they will tilt towards the NDC anyway. I don't know what Peter Yao Aka might have done exceptionally, which could have endeared him to the people, right? If the NDC had to go to court to fight for the cause of Joanna Kujo, to say, keep her, that's our candidate, and that's she who we believe in, then Peter Aka better get up his loins and do a lot of work.
It's not going to be a walk in the park at all. Again, given the history that you've read, it's always intense competition in that particular constituency. As you can see, the NDC isn't leaving it to chance. There are some strong places where you call a stronghold, for example. I don't know whether you can classify this particular constituency as a stronghold. Both parties, parties.
It's a stronghold for the NDC.
For the NDC, because they always emerge victorious. But not not without a fight. There are some places where the NDC or the MPP, you can say it's their stronghold, but it doesn't come easy.
Look, in 2004, the NDC and the MPP had a strong fight. I mean, 1996, it was a clear win. 67% against 29% was a clear win. In 2000, it was 41% and 54%. Even though it was close, I mean, it was also a clear win. Then you come to 2004. 47%, 48%. Clearly not a clear win. 47.7% and 48.1%. That's a real fight.
Yes.
Right? So this, you can say toss-up plus NDC.
Yes.
Right? And then you had 2008, 33.2 and 39.3. Clear win, if you will. Then 2012, 43.8 for the MPP, 54.8% of the votes for the NDC. That's also a clear win. And then 48.9% for NPP in 2016, 50.5 for the NDC, clear win. But then you come to 2020 and you have 52.91% for the NDC and then 44.45 for the NPP, clear win also. I mean, GUM didn't come close. They had 2.6% of the vote. So you can't say, they don't have, what do you call it? They don't have what it takes in that constituency. It's clearly something that you have to look forward to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But again, the competition is there. It's not a walk in the park at all. I'm sure that the NDC would be looking to increase its margin like it did maybe in 96, 2000. But the NPP clearly also putting up a fight in that constituency, and I'm sure they would have been, capitalizing on the divide going on in the NDC as political parties do as part of their strategy. So it's one to definitely watch as we approach the December 7th elections. How prepared is the NDC in that constituency to retain the seat, or will the recent fracas that we've seen in and outside of court cause the downfall of both the independent candidates and the NDC candidate? We shall see.
And that's all of that detail is here, right here on your election command center. It's 36 minutes after 8 here on 3FM 92.7. Amenfi Central is one of the constituencies that will be delving in the coming days. And some other constituencies. We also note that later in the show, Ebenezer Nimakunyako, founder and CEO of AN Analytics and Consulting Limited, will be here. We'll get into some more details. Yesterday we spoke about rejected ballots, right? It's interesting to have noted that the number of rejected ballots actually more than the number of votes put together for all the minority parties.
So that one is not something we just say in jest. That is the actual fact.
That's the actual fact. If you look at the figures, I mean, we keep dipping, going up, coming down, dipping, but it's the fact. It's the fact. The fact of the matter. Some of the constituencies that have done very well in trying to avoid rejected ballots, you had a bigger chunk, about 80%, in the Ashanti region. And then you had one, I think, Sene West, and then one in Greater Accra region as well. In the Western region, no, a Fia constituency in the Western region, and Sene West, also, but aside that, the top, that they had in Share, so Menshia, Bantma, all those big constituencies, the rejected ballots were to the barest minimum in those constituencies. It should tell you. And yesterday, Ebenezer and I said, look, the NCC ought to do more voter education, public education.
Yes, even what the steps to go through on the day of election, it's very important, Johnny. Even how to thumbprint, because any least mistake, and you could get your ballot rejected if you are smudging across the lines. Maybe we can't tell whether you are looking to vote, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, 5 or 6, whatever the case may be. Your ballot could be rejected. And I'm not sure that many people are aware of this, and that is why, like you said, the EC should have a lot more adverts, infographics, whatever the case may be, on social media. Those kinds of videos should be on loop so that people know when you go, you do XYZ, you thumbprint here, you do this is how you fold, this is how you put it into the box. You might think that this is something that goes without saying, but look at the number of rejected ballots, and it's from simple or silly mistakes. That's what's going on. Simple or silly mistakes.
That's right. So these are avoidable. very much avoidable. The question is, since 1992, I mean, 1992 was the highest, obviously, because, for a long time we had not voted. We had become rusty as a country. We're now trying to get back into the space to understand the electoral process and all of that. But the top 10 constituencies with the lowest rejected ballots, according to EN Analytics, Bantama had 0.48%. Old Tafo had 0.50%. Menchia South has 0.53%. Inshaeso has 0.54%. Kwadaso had 0.55%. Menchia North has 0.67%. Tema Central had 0.71%. Swami had 0.74%. Subing had 0.79%. And then you had Efia constituency had 0.79%. In fact, Elliot said Senate, but it's Tema Central actually.
I see.
So it's Tema Central in the Greater Accra region and Efia constituency in the Western region. The rest are...
Which one is Carlos Ahinkora's? Is that Tema West?
Yes,
Tema West.
He's not central.
He's not central.
Okay. He's not central, but clearly that's it. And then you have a ratio of rejected ballots. 2020 alone, we had 316,977 rejected ballots. And the rejected ballots are deducted from the valid votes cast. They're deducted from total votes cast.
Right.
Not the valid votes cast, the total votes cast. And in 1992, we had 3.63. In 1996, that's the national average. The national numbers, I should say, we had 1.59. So it had dipped because in 1996 we just knew I'd come back, the NDC, FRC era, we had come back. In 1992 it was 3.63. In 1996 it was 1.59% of the votes, and then in 2000 it was 1.58. So we dipped a bit from 159 to 158, and then in 2004 I don't know what happened. We went to 2.13. And then we went up to 2008, we went up to 2.37. And then in 2012, we went up to 2.24%. And then in 2016, we came down to 1.54%. And then in 2020, we went to 2.34%. I suspect that 2020, each time we have some new voters, because 2016's figures pretty much looks like that of 1996 and 2000.
Okay.
In 2016, there was a change of government. Right?
That's right.
In 2000, there was a change of government. Right? In 2008, there was a change of government. But then you look at the figures for 2008, and you look at 2016 and 2000, and you clearly can tell that 2008 had the highest number of rejected ballots in terms of the dashboard that we are looking at. It's quite something that political scientists must observe, and then also political parties must take the opportunity to educate their membership on the do's and don'ts. It's important. Yeah, very important.
It's important. And we can take a cue from the constituencies who have gotten it right. Maybe was there some, extra kind of education that was given? Is that something that candidates might wish to also take upon themselves if they also want to safeguard the votes that they get? Because, again, I'm not too sure. The NCC says they've been inside the communities and they've been spreading the word. In my personal community, I've not seen them.
Not seen the
but
NCC.
This is what they say they've been doing some good work behind the scenes. So maybe that will reflect this year in the number of ballots, spoiled ballots that we see, because we've come so far. I mean, at this point, this isn't something that should take up a big chunk of the votes. Come on.
Top 20 constituencies with the highest rejected ballots according to EN Analytics. Pusiga has 7.114%. Yonyo had 6.49%. Sola Tuna Kalba had 5.96%. Tatale Sanguli had 5.95. Timpani, that's the Garo area, had 5.89. Lambuse Kani had 5.83. Yape Kasaugo had 5.67. Busa South at 5.59. Wa West at 5.42. Garu had 5.40. Bimbela had 5.25. Sisala East had 5.24. Talenti had 5.20. Binduri 5.12. Chereponi 5.06. Jerapa 5%. Wolensi 4.95. Gushegu 4.88. Sene East 4.87, and Dafiama Bose Issa had 4.86. So that's you have then the 20 top 20 constituencies with highest rejected ballots, and you can see these around the 5 regions of the north and some part of the BA area. It clearly tells you that we have a lot to do in terms of voter education, and voter. If you look at the regional distribution, right? Greater Accra had 1.3%, Ashanti 1.4%, Ahafo 2.1%, Volta 2.2%, Eastern 2.2%, Central 2.5%, Western 2.5%, Bono 2.6%, Western 2.9% of the votes, Bono East 3.2%, OT was 3.5%, Northern Region 3.6%, Upper West 4.2%, Upper East 4.5%, Northeast 4.5%, and then Savannah Region 4.6%. It should tell you the regional, and you see the 5 regions of the north as we're talking about. Savannah is the highest, followed by Northeast, followed by Upper East, followed by Upper West, and then the Northern Region. And then we come to a T, and then we go to the Bono areas, go to Western Region, come back to the Bono areas, go to Western Region again, then Central, then Eastern, Volta, Ahafo, Ashanti, and then Greater Accra. Greater Accra, in terms of the regional distribution, has the lowest in terms of rejected ballots, but the Ashanti region has the top 10 constituencies, 80% of the top 10 constituencies that do not have rejected ballots or have the lowest number of rejected ballots.
Very, very interesting indeed. If you're watching on Facebook, you have it set out there. So the higher up you go in the country, the more rejected ballots that you see or that you get.
Anyway, this is your election command center, and in the coming days we'll give you some more detail. It's 45 minutes after 8 here. We'll return from this break. We'll talk about fisheries. Stay with us here. My name is Johnny Hughes. I'm here with Helena Piampofo. We're too bad, baby. See you shortly.
92.7.
The most comprehensive election